I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Hunter, and this is the
Family Showdown!
Howdy folks, welcome to the Family Showdown. I'm Hunter, and this lovely person sitting next to me is my comrade in arms, so to speak. Rebecca, tonight we are doing the first in what could be, maybe, possibly, potentially be a series of top tens called the, what are we going to call it? It has to be the Designer Showdown, right?
Yeah.
The Designer Showdown.
Designer Showdown.
So we're basically taking two designers, taking all of the games that we've played from those two designers, and then doing a top 10 list. And then at the end, we'll
score them.
Discuss who won the showdown,
That's
so
right.
to speak.
Who
Tonight, for your viewing pleasure, your viewing entertainment, for your viewing mesmerization.
Wow. We're going to mesmerize you with this.
Doubtful. We have Stefan Feld and Uwe Rosenberg going head-to-head. Before we jump into our top 10,
Oh, my goodness.
we got a little statty stats.
Ooh.
Just to be on an even playing field, even understanding what's going on. So, according to my calculations, now Rebecca may have snuck some games in with people I don't know. According to my calculations, we've played 27 different Stefan Feld games and 23 different Uwe Rosenberg games, technically. Because Stefan Feld has redone 3 of the games we played.
Yes.
Bruges has become Hamburg, Macau has become Amsterdam, and Rialto has become New York City. We combine those together. So it would be 30 different Feld games, but we combine those into one game because they're respectively the same game.
They are.
27 Feld games, 23 Uwe games.
Rosenberg. You're doing like last name one and the first
We
name
always say Feld, we always say Uwe.
That's true. We kind of do.
Stefan, Feld and Uwe. Does anyone call them Rosenberg games? I guess they do. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Starting now.
Feld versus Rosenberg. Where's the little bell? Ding, ding, ding.
I like Uwe.
Well, then stick with Uwe.
They're kind of.
You're on a first name basis with the guy, apparently. Okay, that's fine.
My good buddy
Cool.
Uwe.
Your good buddy Uwe. That's awesome. Gee, I wonder who the Hunter favors.
We'll find that out. So stick around to the end, and you'll know who we favor. So let's get it started. And since last time Rebecca said we have to do the buttons. I'm not doing all
I
the
didn't
buttons.
say we had to do the buttons. You just started doing them. It was kind of funny. And then I was like, might as well.
All right.
Consistency. And it's fun. It's live. You feel like you're getting the live experience. So push the wrong button or something. It's entertaining.
No. Before
I tried.
Before we start.
Oh my gosh. Okay, he's going to interrupt us.
We got to do the Bam Bam Bum to see who goes
yeah.
first. And then we'll jump in. Let's see. I've been winning these lately. I wonder if this is stacked in my favor.
I think it is. It's a load.
Sometimes we should.
Lie.
At some point during a variety show, we should go through all these and see
who wins.
and divide it equally.
That would be like war.
50-50.
Yeah. I like it.
All right, here you go.
I'm sure everybody would be thrilled for us to do that. Who dresses worse?
Let's get started fight.
I'm not a fashion person, but who doesn't have to get dressed to
I'm
even go to work?
going to call it a draw.
What? Oh,
We
wow.
dress very similar.
I just have to dress nice for work.
Silmarillion.
I have to dress Silmarillion. Who loves football?
We already did
more?
that one. We did that one last
Well,
time.
yeah.
You got a different one. We'll go until you win.
Who is shorter?
Oh, yay! You win!
By like an inch and a half. That's so lame.
Who's going first?
So lame.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. Why not? I'll go first.
You're going to go first? Well,
Yep, sure.
Let's do this.
Number 10.
Bim bam boom. All right.
What's your number 10?
My number 10 is Hunter's Cheat.
How's it a cheat?
Because it's kind of 2 games, but it's really 1 game that got tweaked, and that is Bruges / Hamburg.
I don't think it would be a cheat. Because
It's not a cheat. I was just being controversial. I wanted to start something. Tell me my clickbait. Number 10 will amaze you.
Because we like the new version of all these better. But if we separated them, they probably multiple of the same game would make the list.
Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, stupid.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, they are the same game. They've just been tweaked.
It's not my cheat.
Well, yeah, you were the one that combined them.
If you look on Board Game Geek,
they combined them.
It says Hamburg.
Okay, it's Board Game Geek's
implementation of Bruges.
Oh, look at them get all spicy with the word. Okay,
but
fine.
They are separate.
The
listings
official
on Board Game Geek.
Well, way to be confusing Board Game Geek. I throw the blame entirely upon them.
Good.
Bruges / Hamburg.
And then I got the blame to start. Who makes this game?
Feld.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Stefan.
Your bud, Stefan. Okay, he looks very dapper in a top hat.
He does. Yeah, he does wear a top hat. Yeah.
So Bruges / Hamburg. This was one of the first games where I got to really get into those multi-purpose cards.
Okay.
And he had those different cards that have all these different things that you can do with them. You're making all these choices. It was very fun.
Yeah. Yeah, this one took...
Point salad. It's Feld.
This one took the multi-use cards to like...
Cranked it up 11.
Yeah, well, not quite 11. I think you can use them for 6 or 7 different things, I want to say.
There's a lot of different uses
Something
for them.
like that. 6 or 7 different
And
things.
you can, I mean... It's really easy to just analysis paralysis out on that because you're trying to keep cards in your hand, be able to play things. You got to be able to keep cards in your hand to get rid of things. You got to be able to play stuff on your board, but then they're out of your hand. I mean, there's just so many different options of stuff you can do with it. You just
Sounds like you hate this game.
I actually like this game a lot. It's my number 10. But no, it can, when you first play it, kind of overwhelm a person because you're looking at that going, oh, this is really good. Oh, that's really good too. I can do this with that card also. What do I do with this card? I can only use it for one thing. Yeah, it's something. Then you realize you can draw a whole mess more cards. And then you chill out a little bit and play the game. It's pretty nice.
Expert analysis.
Yes, absolutely. That I just went through the entire gamut of emotions that you have playing Bruges for the first time. There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, this was out of print forever, and the City Collection republished it. But it's crazy expensive.
Re-implemented it according to Board Game Geek.
Well, and republished it too.
That too.
It's out of print. But anyway, it's crazy. The City Collection is crazy expensive. I don't know about even if there is a retail version. I don't know, but the Kickstarter version was crazy expensive. Anyway, my number 10 is not Bruges, and it is not from Stefan Feld. It is a Rosenberg game, as we're calling it apparently.
Oh my goodness! Whatever call it makes you happy.
And that is Holla.
Oh my goodness.
Hallertau is my... Or Hallertau? Or Hallertau?
Howler monkey?
Hooler? Tooler?
Wow.
Hallertau! So this is a worker placement game. One of those worker placements where you have to put more workers. As more people go to the same spot, it takes more workers to do it. You are collecting just tons of resources. Basically, you are... almost contract fulfillment in a way. You have like this little house, village looking thing that you have to pay a certain amount and it slides to the right. So you have a list of resources and you pay all those resources, it slides over. You pay all those resources, it slides over. So it's a kind of more robust version of, what's that game you like? Rakeholt? Where you basically you pay a carrot and you move forward a space. And you pay a cabbage and move forward a space. It's the same way.
Is it like a mobile home?
Maybe. I don't know. I've never been to Hallertau. Maybe it is. It's got mobile homes. I don't know. But anyway, so you're moving these things over, and there's rocks that you have to get in the way you have to get rid of, or you can't move. So there's another thing you have to do. And what's interesting about the worker placement, like I said, you got to put more workers every spot, but only certain spots empty each round. So there's a lot of kind of analysis there. It's like, oh, do I need to go? I want to go to that spot, but it's going to clear next round. It's going to be much cheaper if I wait. I really want to go to that spot now because I want to pay all these workers. And what's interesting is because it's communal worker placement spots, you really don't have your own color workers. They're just a bunch of black cubes, if I remember right. And no one has like their own individual workers because we're all using the same spots. And you don't really block each other. You just, if you go there, it makes it more expensive for the next person to go to that same spot. Really interesting game.
I want to play that again because I have a feeling it might sneak up my list.
Holla!
We always say that when we play it too. We just can't help it. It's so sad.
Number 9.
Number 9.
So it's funny that you bring up something because you happen to mention my number 9 game, and that is by Rosenberg, and that is Reykholt.
Interesting. Yeah, you really like this a lot more than me.
I do. I love the puzzle of this game. It's like a table of feasting of vegetables, and everybody's wanting more vegetables the farther along this table you get. And you have a garden, and you're trying to plant your garden in such a way that you can put food on those tables and then move on to the next one, and you want to keep going, and you've got to build up this little engine, but it also needs to be kind of cyclical because you need to get, X amount of carrots you got to grow, but you got to harvest them, and by then you need to be starting to work on cabbages and this and that, and you're kind of rolling through these things in a good order as you're going through the board. I love that puzzle. I don't know why. Maybe I just have this thing for vegetables. I don't know. Either way, puzzly vegetables, that's my jam. That sounds kind of confusing. No one would want vegetable jam. That sounds kind of gross.
Vegetable jam. Do they? I bet they have vegetable jam.
Isn't that Vegemite? Kind of? No,
I don't think so.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, but Reykholt, so much fun. I love that game. And it's funny that you mentioned Hala, because it does have kind of reminiscent of that. And that's why I suspect that game will go higher up on my list.
Yeah.
With more plays.
Reykholt is one of those games that's,
it's pretty easy to pick up.
Pretty easy game to teach, if you're a gamer, obviously.
Yeah.
If you're used to playing even the light games, it's really easy because you're basically building fields, you're planting crops, you're harvesting crops, and the worker placement, I think, if I remember correctly, it's maybe like a little 3x3 grid of places you can go. It may not even be that many. It's very limited number of worker placement spots you can go. It's basically planting gardens, but getting new plots of land to go on.
And collecting the vegetable seeds or whatever and whatnot.
Growing your stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of timing on when you harvest.
Yes.
So anyway, it's all right.
It's very fun. I don't know. I'm hooked on that game.
Very middle of the pack-ish for me.
For you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why. I love that puzzle.
All right.
That's my number.
My number 9 is another Rosenberg game.
Interesting.
And that is not Reykholt's. It is Caverna.
You love Caverna.
The Cave Farmers. I love me some Caverna.
You're a sheep farmer at heart, apparently.
I love to have the sheep and have thousands and thousands and thousands of them. Anyway, Caverna, it's a worker placement game. It's kind of a spiritual successor to Agricola in a lot of ways, in terms of it's all about collecting resources, building farms and raising sheep, or you have a cave where you go mining and you build rooms, and the rooms usually give you benefits on the stuff you're doing in the farming. You collect gems, and you have little dwarf guys. You have these dwarf guys, and you can send them out on adventures. Basically, it's another way to get resources, and you level those guys up, and they get more and more powerful as you go along, and they get to get better and better stuff when they go on adventures. It's just a really interesting game. It took Agricola and made it less punishing, because in Agricola you really have to do a little bit of everything. You have to be very diverse, and there's very specific things you have to do. And it's like a constant struggle to get enough food to feed your people. Whereas in Caverna you feed your people, but it's like you feed them vegetables, you can feed them sheep, you can feed them rocks, you can feed whatever you want to feed your people with. Much easier to feed your people, less punishing in that aspect, and more wide open in things you can do. And to me, I do enjoy Agricola. It's not too far down, spoiler, down my below my 10, but I've enjoyed Caverna more because it's just you're more options, easier to do the things you want to do, and you're not kind of railroaded in a way in what you do in the game. So that's my number 9. An Uwe game. Caverna. Push a button.
Number 8.
My number 8 is a Feld game. And that is The Castles of Burgundy.
Oh.
This was, I believe, our first Feld game that we ever played.
It was the first Feld game we ever played.
And it still is one of my favorites. I absolutely love the fact that you've got the little map and you're trying to fill it out with different types of countryside and whatnot. You have farms and buildings and all sorts of different things that you're building up, and when you complete a section you get certain perks and benefits. And again, it's another point salad-y kind of game, but this one has a fun, I like the map aspect to it. I don't know. It's just, I like the way you choose the different pieces. I like the flows of the turns. It just seems like it's one of his easier games to pick up, and I just like the flow of this one. And it's stayed a favorite from first play.
Yeah, it's a good. Castles is probably a lot of people's favorite Feld, I would say.
Yeah.
It's just so smooth, like you said. It's like you take a die, you take a plot of land, you use the die and put the plot of land. It's just it just has a nice smooth flow to it.
Fun. Like, depending on what you roll, there's just all these different possibilities on the board, right? And each number has certain things that you can get around it. I don't know. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, and really the only kind of complicated part of the game is all the different buildings do a different thing. But they have a cheat sheet that shows you exactly what all the different types of buildings do. When you build them, they give you different benefits. They give you, money, victory points, all
or another turn.
Things.
Like,
It's a lot. It's a lot of different buildings that do different things. So
Right.
it's really easier if you don't even really say, "Hey, the buildings do stuff," and here's a list
Here's
of all
the
the
list.
buildings.
Yeah,
and you just when they come out, you say,
Easier.
"Oh, well, this building does this." It gives you an extra silver every turn, or whatever it
Right.
is, right? If you build it.
it's fun, and it's just it's not a super long game. It's another one of those that scales really well. That's one thing about Feld that I think across the board, his games scale so well, whether we're playing it 2-player or 4-player, doesn't matter. It seems like they flow really well. So I enjoy this one so much.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck around.
It has. That's a long time.
My number 8 is another Stefan game.
Ooh.
That is to be discussed at length later, and that is Trajan.
Ooh.
Trajan. So this is it's been one of our favorites for since we first played it. It kind of blew us away how the game worked, the whole Mancala dropping of the things to do your actions, and the whole puzzle of you want to get the action you want, but you want to have a combination of the cubes to be able to get the bonus. If you have a bonus tile next to it, you have to have a certain combination of cubes on that square. So you're like, okay, I want to drop these there. I don't want to do that action. Oh crap, I need a pink cube in that spot. So if I pick up there, it's like a little logistical, like crunchy little puzzle to do that. And then there's all this other stuff. It's point salad, but it's a lot of people say, I say the same thing. It's just a bunch of mini games. So you got a map where you're moving people around. You have a little guild where you're doing stuff. You have a place where you get bonus tiles, and you have a place where you do the Senate voting stuff. There's all these different ones. Like which areas do I want to influence, and how am I going to influence them, and what's important to me? And it almost has, in a way, it has a feed your people thing, because in each era or whatever epic or whatever they call them, you have to provide certain things to people. You need to give them games, or you need to give them food, or whatever you need to give them, and so you have to collect those tiles, or you get penalties for that. And it's a fun little puzzle. It's just a really puzzly, crunchy little game. That
It's not a little game. It's a big beefy game.
it's all right. We'll talk about it more in a little bit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me find the button. She can do the button. Then find the button to do the button. Do the button.
Number 7.
Found the button.
All right. Yes, you did. Good job. Good job. My number 7, very reminiscent of my number 8, and that's Castles of Tuscany. It's funny
Still
that it's
baffles me.
like edges it out.
Still baffles me.
What baffles you?
So go ahead. I'll comment. I'll comment at the end.
Okay. This one's really similar to Castles of Burgundy. Really similar. I almost feel like it's almost cheaty to have them separate in some ways, because they're just so similar in many ways. But Tuscany, one of the big things that I just really love about this one is it's got this really cool scoring mechanism. It's got round points, and then it's got game points. So each round, you're collecting round points, and you're collecting these, and it stays on there, and that's how much you're gonna, you want to try to get points. A lot of points, especially the first round, right? Because that's going to happen to go through every other successive round. You're going to score those points and more. And I really like that. It's kind of like just a chain reaction of points. You can really get that engine going and get a lot out of it. I really enjoy this one. All right, what's your?
All this game really does for me, I do enjoy it. It's good. But
Yeah.
I'm going to for effect, I'm going to berate it more than it should get. all this game really does for me, really, is makes me want to play Castles of Burgundy.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
I get about halfway through this game, it's like,
quicker,
oh, I want to play Castles of Burgundy instead.
It is a little shorter, like
super light, not as much going on.
Yeah, it's not quite as salady.
It's like it's just a taste. Reminds me of like when we play. What game is we flew right out of my head, but there's another game that's that way. That's a piece of another game, and it makes me feel like I want to play the whole game. Like Mercato de Lisboa makes me want to play
Lisboa or something.
Games like that.
Right,
it's just when it's a lesser version, like the Castle of Burgundy card game, makes me want to play Castle of Burgundy.
Right.
It's the same sort of thing, and just I want to be playing a real game.
Right.
What's funny is yours are right next to each other.
Yeah, you said yours were separate, right?
Mine,
that's all you
between Castles of Burgundy and Castle of Tuscany, there's 17 places apart on my list.
Wow, that's crazy to me. No,
17.
I was a bit surprised
places.
that they ended up next to each other. I wasn't sure how that would be. But
I think in years past, for lists like this, you've actually combined them because they're so close together in your mind.
Yeah, that's true. They really are.
But they're not the same. One is a great game, and one is a good game.
Better hit that technical difficulty.
One is a great game, and one is a good game. My number 7 is not a Stefan Feld game. It is a
Rosenberg, huh?
A Uwe game. And it is the something in labor. What's it called?
Ora et labora.
What is it? Something in labor?
Work and pray.
Work and pray. That's what it is. Work and pray is my number 7. Ora et labora. Ora et labora. So this is a heavy, might be the heaviest not Stefan, Uwe. See, I'm not confused. Heaviest Uwe game that we've played, and I think it may be his heaviest game. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I could look real quick.
Hawk's pretty
I think it's his heavy.
Yeah, it's
heaviest game that he has. It's really a cool game. It's probably his longest game. It's probably his heaviest game, and I really enjoy it. It has a very cool resource management system where each round that a resource isn't taken, worker placement-esque taking, the resource it keeps like ratcheting up more and more and more and more until someone takes it and then poof, it goes back down. So it's kind of a playing chicken. And I don't think we've ever played this. We played it one time with 3 players, and that makes it even rougher because it's harder to go, okay. It's easier to look at your opponent and go, okay, I don't think she's going to take stone. The more people get at the table, it's like, oh my gosh, one of these people are going to take stones.
It never fails, right?
And you're collecting these cards, you're building them out, and it's got a tableau building system where you're putting cards in certain locations on your little board. It's kind of like you have I want to say like mountains and prairie and coastland or something like that. Placing these cards down, and a lot of them have proximity bonuses. Like you want to put this card next to this card, but you don't want this card next to this other card.
I love that kind of stuff. I love that.
And there's 2 ways to play the game. One is Italy and one is France, and they have different resources, and they play slightly different.
Do they play slightly different? I thought they basically...
They have completely different cards, sets of cards.
Oh, that's right.
They have completely
I'm thinking of a different game.
I don't know if they have all the completely different cards. They have a set of cards for each one that's different. Different resources, play a little bit different. We've played both, and really, I couldn't tell you the difference between the 2.
One was called one thing, and one's called the other. That's all I remember.
Italy and France.
Yeah, it was like wine versus beer kind of thing. I mean, it was like...
Anyway. But I love the resource system. It appears... we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later on, for me anyway. And they just came out with a new game, which may or may not be mentioned, that uses that same kind of resource system. So that's a thing he's putting in a lot of his games.
Because he knows it's cool.
Because it is fun. It is a fun system. It's kind of a really cool, kind of almost quirky resource system in the game. Yeah. That's my number 7. Work and pray. Or et labora. And the et sign.
Gosh, you're obsessed with the ampersand.
It's a little et. I never knew it was a little et.
You're never going to forget that forever now.
I'm gonna be on my deathbed. I'll be like, sweetie, did you know the and sign is actually an E and a T for et?
I'm going to say, yes, I was the one that told you that.
I never knew that. Let's move on.
Number 6.
Number 6. So number 6 is a Stefan Feld game. This one is Macau / Amsterdam.
Another one of your combo games.
One of my combo games? You mean Board Game Geeks?
No, actually, they put them separately. I'm the one that combined them.
Aha! It's your fault.
Because Macau would be on your list and Amsterdam would be on your
Not
list.
my list. Yeah.
They would both be on your list.
Same game.
Not really.
Same.
They're different. They're different, but they play similarly.
They're the same, but different.
It's kind of like
Like what?
you know,
like Castle
like
Burgundy.
let's say your grandmother makes a pecan pie in the style of from the 50s or whenever, how old your grandmother is. And you make like a more modern version. Like she would probably use like a different sweetener and stuff like that. But your sweetener would be maybe a little bit different, and they taste. I don't know.
I just wanted to see where this went. I don't know about you
They're
guys.
both pecan pies, but one's got like whole pecans, the other one's got crushed up pecans. One of them has whipped cream on top. The other one has I don't know what else you put on pecan pies. Nothing. No whipped cream.
Wow. You learned more about pie than you ever wanted to. So, Macau / Amsterdam. I like that it's kind of a two-parter situation. Yeah, you've got this little region with little houses and roads and resources and stuff, and you're going around maybe building up a long road, or maybe you're just willy-nilly picking up resources that you like and don't care about trying to attach the homes. But either way, you've got that, and then you've got this map, and you've got a ship, and you're traveling along in your little ship, and you're going to drop off these goods that you've been picking up, and hopefully beating everybody else to the punch, because the sooner you get there, the more victory points you get. So once again, it's point salad. You're getting points and stuff for doing these, picking up these different goods, and the more of them that you get to drop off at the islands, the more victory points you're going to get. And of course, if you're the first one there, you get all the good stuff. So it's a fun blend of those two things, balancing it out. When do I want to move my ship? Because it takes a while. More so in Macau than in Amsterdam. I think Amsterdam makes it a lot easier for you to boat around the different locations. But you have to plan out at your moves and make sure you have goods that are worthy of traveling for that reason. So it's a fun little, again, balance. What?
It's all right.
Whatever. Whatever.
It's okay.
You love Macau.
We're gonna move on. My number 6 is
Macau?
one of the newest Stefan Feld games, and maybe his newest. I don't know. That is Marrakesh. So this is the new game. It's called the City Collection. If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock or you don't play Feld,
Maybe they just don't follow Feld.
I said they don't play Feld games.
Oh my gosh.
Let me finish.
So if you've been living under a rock, do you even play Feld games? Do you even Feld? Alright, go ahead. I'm finished.
Marrakesh. So we've only played this game once, but we both loved it. Somehow we've never made it back to this game.
No, and it's crazy.
And this should be like our tippy top of our list of games that we need to play.
Yep.
I don't think either one of us picked it for a game to play right now, though. But anyway, regardless, Marrakesh it's kind of Trajan-esque in a way, because your player board is all these different regions where you're doing all these different things, and you have these pillars. So it's a pillar system where you're dropping like pillars in a thing, and they pop out, and you're gonna get certain pillars, and you put those little pillars. They're like the Trajan pieces, little hexagonal pieces, and you basically can influence different regions on your board, which gives you more power, makes you more powerful and do things more effectively. It's got engine building, but the most interesting thing is obviously dropping the thing. So he took like pieces of a lot of different games, it seems like, and he mushed them together in a wonderful way. That's really interesting to me, and we need to get this one played again.
Yes, we do. In fact, I'm making a little note. I was like, I think this is a game that slipped through the cracks kind of thing, because part of it is we stow it on the very top shelf. And And that might be why it's not like in our line
Yeah,
of
it's a big
sight.
giant
So
game. Like
it's a
America
giant
doesn't
game.
have the cube tower
And I
stuff
think,
like that.
that game we absolutely love, and it's not difficult to get to the table other than the fact that it's sitting way up on our top shelf.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think what words that were about to come out of my mouth, literally,
Okay.
they're like on the tip of my tongue.
Right.
Ready to spew forth.
What makes it harder?
I
to
think
get
it's
to
the
table?
most, I think it's the heaviest Stefan Feld game.
You know, you're probably right.
I think it is the heaviest game. Just like I said.
No, I think you're probably right.
Labor is probably the heaviest Uwe game.
Yeah.
I think Marrakesh is the heaviest.
Might be as
heaviest Stefan Feld game.
Yeah.
Because you have all those different regions, they all do something a little bit
different.
different than each other. And
I think there's more regions.
because you really have to go through them. I think there's like 12 regions. There must be 12 or 13 regions, and you have to explain. Okay, this region does this, and this region does this, and this region does this, and this, and this,
Yeah.
and this, and this. By the time I get to region 10, you forgot what region 1 does. So I'm just saying.
I don't know if I get that crazy, but
No,
yeah, it's
I'm
a
saying
lot.
in general. I don't mean
Yeah,
you
yeah.
specifically. I mean you, the collective, the royal you. You, the people I'm teaching, which is usually you.
I was gonna say what just happened. Oh my goodness!
I forget too. I have to look at a book and say,
No, I know. It's like,
this is.
There's a lot.
But yeah. I think honestly, I think that's one of the reasons that it hasn't gone back to the table. It's like because it's a pretty good teach, and obviously it's out of sight, out of mind. It's up on the top shelf where Amerigo lives, which is another game we need to play. Those two are like next to each other because they have the big giant queen game box of death that's humongous.
they all need to calm down with those boxes, man. They're
That's my number 6.
out of control.
Marrakesh.
It's a good pick.
I push the button. I'll push this one.
Number 5.
All right, my number 5 will make Hunter happy. I'm pretty sure.
Bullet.
It's one of your favorite Felds, as far as I know.
Is it?
The Oracle of Delphi. No comment. Interesting. So, yes, this one is not really point salad in the way that typical Feld games run. This is a race game. And instead of the point salady stuff, you have a salad of different things you must accomplish. You have different tasks.
The 12 labors.
That's right. And it's like, go kill a mythological beast. Go leave a statue in a temple. Go pick up a cube and put it in another cube spot. And it's very mythological. But it's an efficiency puzzle. Because some of these things, you can keep track of them and start like picking up that cube that you need on your way to go kill that mythological beast as you circle back around. And some of it's a little bit of a memory game too, because some of the temples, there's certain types of temples where you drop off only certain colors of cubes and stuff. If you haven't flipped those over, or maybe Hunter had a chance to peek at it. He knows what's there, but I don't because it hasn't been flipped over yet. So, there's all that. So he's got to remember what that was. Is it something he's going to try to go back there and beat me to it? There's all these different things going on. And ultimately, again, it's a race to whoever finishes those 12 tasks first. I love it. It's so much fun. And I usually miss it by that much. I always am like, I'm like a turn behind you. I'm always like a turn. It's always like
It may as
super
well
close.
be like a lifetime.
I know, exactly. Second place, first loser. That's what happens.
You know what I have to say about this?
You agree with me completely?
That is criminally low. Oracle of Delphi.
I was gonna say,
Criminally
he
low.
loves this one.
All right, my
It's so much fun.
number 5 is Oracle of Delphi.
Are you serious? Criminally low.
Oh, this used
What's
to be
your
my
excuse?
this used to be my favorite Feld, and
Yep.
it's slowly kind of creeping down a little bit, just because we've played it
A lot.
ton. We've
So much
played
fun.
this. If this isn't our most played Feld, it's got to be pretty close. This and Castles and Trajan are probably our most played Felds.
Right.
Because
Because it's just
it's really
loved.
enjoyable. And I like like you said, I like the fact that it's completely different than most of his games. It's like you said, you're on a little boat going around doing all these little tasks. It's point salad in a way, but your salad's already like defined because you don't really have to do them in any particular order.
Nope, you can do it in any order you
whatever
want. You
order
just
you
have to
want.
accomplish
So
them all.
it's point salad in
That's
that
fun.
way because you can pick and choose what you do and when you do it. But you definitely have a menu that you have to
yeah.
fill out.
Eventually, you got to get those things done.
And like she said, it's really, I love my favorite part, kind of like I said in Is it Marrakesh? No. I don't remember when I said it. Oh, Macau. I don't know. It's an efficiency puzzle in terms of, all right, I need to go over here to accomplish this goal. What can I do on the way there, and what can I do on the way back?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just go all the way across the map because you're on a little boat.
You don't want to waste that time. You'll lose.
So if you have to go all the way on the side of the board, you better have some things to do along the way, or you're going to be in trouble, or find a way to get there.
Or find something different.
Find something different, and maybe something will pop up that you can do on the way. So based on where you are on the map, what can you do that's most efficient with your turn? And I enjoy that's the puzzly type of game I like. I like the puzzle of figuring out how to most efficiently do things.
Yeah, and it's just fun. It's a fun twist on what he normally does, and I think that's why it had such a huge appeal for us. That's really cool.
All right, I got to push some buttons.
Number 4.
My number 4 probably will come as a surprise to no one. It's a Rosenberg game. It is Mercator. I know. Hunter is like, why? I don't know why I love this game so much. It's not like one of those where you look at it and you're like, wow, this looks like a fascinating game. It's not. It's like this big shelving unit of bunch of different items that the Mercator is selling. I mean, okay, you're a merchant. I get it. You got goods and you trade them for other goods and you do stuff with goods. And I love the puzzle. I love the puzzle of this game. I don't know what it is. And it mystifies Hunter too. He's like, okay, all right, yay, Mercator, whatever.
Yeah, this one.
And I love it. I love trading the goods and keeping track of what goes where. And
if you're ever looking for a cube pusher,
this is like
literally nothing but pushing cubes around. It's all it is.
And they even doubled up, and like the cubes, like a red cube could mean ham or it could mean like a brick. It's like two different things, and you have to decide which color it is. I don't know. This
is such a cube pusher.
It is, but I love it. Who's with me, Mercator peeps?
No.
Yeah, and I didn't ask you. I asked them.
You should call it Mercator.
Really, you worked on that all day, didn't you?
No, I just made it up just now. Mercator, it's okay. It's okay. It's middle of the pack ish, kind of lower.
No, it's a number 4.
It's kind of middle of the pack.
Contender for awesomeness.
Anyway, yeah, I'm not saying Feld or Uwe are known for their theme in games, but man, this is just themeless.
It's not. Yeah,
you literally could put anything on this thing.
Which is why I think Mercator is a great theme. Merchant, you sell stuff. Boom, sold. Thematic. You know what? Actually, this may be his most thematic game if you really get around to it.
It is so.
Why not? How would you retheme this and make it better?
You could literally write anything you want on those cubes.
And it wouldn't be very cool because you're like, what are you doing with it? Moving around. What does the merchant do? Move inventory around. Boom. I rest my case. Best theme ever.
Oh my gosh. This is so bad. Anyway, it's a good game. It's all right.
I love this game.
It's all right.
If you want a little puzzly game,
it's all right.
It's so much fun. Puzzly fun.
Let's move on to a real game.
What? Oh. You're lucky I'm tired.
All right, my number, what are we on, 4? My number 4, so in the way back time of my number 7, I mentioned that Uwe, my good buddy Uwe, has this resource wheel of wheelness of resources.
Resources!
So, he redid it in a 2-player version of the game, and that is Glass Road, which I like better than Orlet Labor because of a few reasons. One, it's shorter. 2, it's easier to teach. 3, it plays 2 players, which we usually play 2 players. So
we do.
It's specifically designed for 2 players. Is it 2 player? Am I losing my mind? Is Glass Road 2 player?
I wasn't going to say anything.
So
if he's wrong, we put Hunter at the pasture.
It's almost live. No, it's not 2 player. Why do I have in my head that it's 2 player?
We only play it 2 player? I don't think we've ever not played it 2 player.
Also an excellent 2 player game.
That's why. I don't know
why I had it in my head that it's 2 player only, but it plays much better 2 player than Orlet Labor does. Anyway, I love me some Glass Road. It is interesting because in Orlet Labor you have a combined resource board for everybody. So basically, if someone takes stone, it resets stone, that sort of thing. You have your own little cool little resource board,
I love
and it's
that.
two resources, two little
How'd that go
resource willy things.
How's that?
Two resource
I love
wheels.
it when you explain the technical stuff. That's the best.
And the way it works is once you get like a set of basic resources, it creates an advanced resources automatically. So you basically have to kind of manipulate your resources so that if you don't want to create an advanced resource, you have to kind of keep the resources, juggling resources. Juggling resources.
What is happening over here?
I don't know.
Cutting back his caffeine.
Glass Road.
I'd like to add that a glass road sounds incredibly inefficient and painful.
I think that's what it's called, right?
Glass road?
I don't know why I keep pulling
I was being literal.
Literally a glass road.
Yeah, a literal glass road would be extremely
The glass road leads
inefficient.
you to the Bavarian forest.
Oh, well, take me on this glass road. I want to go to the Bavarian
Why are you
forest.
pulling this game off?
I don't know. You're fascinated with it for sure.
Trying to give you that live experience. Super live.
Is that kind of like when they do color vision? We're like pseudo live. I like it. I like it.
That's it for number
We're
4.
not calling you
Let's
crazy
move on.
dog.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Number 3.
Rebecca's letting the dog out. Pseudo live.
Pseudo live. All right, so we're on number 3.
Top three, baby.
Three.
Top three. The other games are garbage.
That's right. This is the real. Okay.
The real? Are we in the
Yeah.
Matrix all of a sudden?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
You didn't take the right pill. All right, so number 3 for me, Amerigo. Stefan Feldy Greatness. Another big box that's way up there. Sometimes we forget about that we even have this game, and then we pull it down again, and we're like, oh, this is so much fun. You know, Hunter's obsessed with boats. This is like all about boats.
I'm on a boat.
It's got all these little islands all over the place. And you're going to take your little boat to all these different little islands, and then you Tetris in a bunch of stuff. And as you do that, you're covering up the land. Dang colonization stuff. Anyway, but you pick up a bunch of resources. You get to do things with resources. Point salad, points. It's Feld. But the way you go about the traveling and the Tetrising with the pieces and all that, it's pretty glorious. What'd you say? You're sad because this is low. It's probably like Hunter's number 1 or 2.
Criminally low.
I'm guessing it's his 1 or 2. You said criminally low. Is it his number 3?
You didn't even mention your favorite part of the game. I'm waiting.
Oh, my gimmicky bit?
Yes.
My gimmicky bit?
Which is?
The Cube Tower! Okay, so, I didn't want to, like, beat this poor dead horse, but I'm going to do it because, you know what? This is one of the coolest gimmicks, and I love it in this game. You have 6 different cube colors? Is that right? 6? I don't know. You have a bunch of cubes. There are a bunch of different colors.
An indeterminate number of
An
cubes.
indeterminate number of cube
I think it might
colors.
be 8.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
know.
And each one of them has different actions associated with the colors. So, you put a bunch of cubes in the tower, drop it, whatever comes out, the largest number is the power of that you're going to do. So, say I throw the cubes in and 3 red cubes come out and 1 green. I can do an action that's only, for green, that's only 1 strong.
I don't think that's how it works. I think it's the highest number.
Oh, was it the highest number?
Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I'm going to go with what I've got, because I usually remember that weird nitpicky stuff pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know.
But...
This game's horrible.
What? It's one of your favorites. It's going to be... You wait. He's going to be talking about this. Or I could do a power 3 cube, red cube action. So it's like better if I get to do that red action. So of course, if that is what I need for my opportunities and what I need to do and all these different things. Because some of the, some of them is pick up these pieces or place them and all sorts of different stuff. So you want to do what you can with the opportunity you've got. And then you're going to
Do
do
the most with your opportunities in life.
That's right. Bang for your buck, as they say. But it's really funny because sometimes you're like, oh, it's the green turn. So you pick up like 6 green cubes. You put it in there and like 1 comes out, but then 4 blues. And you're like, oh, okay. I don't know what I'm going to do this turn. It's just really bizarre sometimes. The cube tower is like magically weird. Sometimes
delicious.
it is. It's magical. You want to not cheat though and bump it or anything like that, because that would suck and ruins the game. But it's really cool. I really like how you have to map out your turns, plan ahead, and go around in little boats, settle lots of islands.
Sounds boring to me.
Whatever. It's one of your favorite games. It's so cool.
Let's talk about boats, people. We're going to talk about boats, real boats, not these fake Amerigo boats. We're talking about real boats in Le Havre. Le Havre is my number 3.
Yeah, you love Le Havre.
Le Havre is my number 3. So this is a worker placement, resource management, contract fulfillment. No, not right, contract fulfillment. You're building buildings. That's kind of contract fulfillment. So basically, you start out with a few basic buildings, and then as time goes by, you have the ability to make more and more buildings. You have a tableau of buildings in front of you. You have the kind of the public buildings, however you want to call them, and then the other players' buildings. And you use your buildings, you use their buildings, but if you use their buildings, they get a little Benny for that.
Money.
And it's a game of what really cool thing do I want to do among all these really cool things I can do. So like a lot of worker placement games, it's like, oh, that's the obvious choice. I'll go here. Well,
right.
and Le Havre, it's like, I want 17 fish. Do I want 4 bread? I want 4 cows. I want 3 leather. What do I want? So basically, it's all these good different things you can do. But invariably, the one you want to do most is what the other player is going to pick on their turn.
The other thing about this game is how tight the turns are. You want to do 47 things, but you only get like 4.
Right.
That's what I think is the most strategic and difficult thing about the game, is you need to map out your entire round. You can't just kind of wing it.
Right. And it's another feed your people game.
Yeah.
And what's cool about this game, unlike a lot of other games, you can just feed your people with just a bunch of food. You get like, I'll take my 10 fish and I'll feed my people.
Right.
Whatever. But you have the opportunity to build boats, which are almost like automatic food, which is really interesting. I can't really think off the top of my head another game. Maybe Agricola does it. I don't know. But
was it Newfjord?
Where you have auto food, where you just get, like, if you have a boat, it gives you like 4 food every round that you can just feed your people with. So you can potentially build enough boats. You may not even need very much or any food to be able to feed your people. And then later on in the game, you can, with so much resources, you can start doing exporting. You export resources from victory points. Give me points for my resources.
Oh,
what's
the caveman game? The caveman game. Stone Age.
That's not Uwe, though.
No, it's not, but I'm saying that's a game where you...
Correct. There's other games that do that.
There's not very many,
where you
though.
get auto food.
There's not very many that have auto food.
Just paying a certain amount of food every turn.
Right.
But that's Le Havre. It's one of my faves. Obviously, it's up in the top 3.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a good one. What's funny is forever and ever, we always played the basic version.
I was going to mention that.
Because every time we played, we're like, oh, let's just play the basic game. Let's play the basic game. Let's play the basic game. Finally, we said, we're playing the big game. And we played it. We're like, oh, we always got to play this way.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're very, the basic game is much shorter and very limited in the buildings you have access to.
Yeah. Yeah, it opened up a whole new world because we saw buildings we'd never seen before. I'm feeling very Disney, I guess, today. I don't know. I'm referencing all these Disney.
You know all these song lyrics.
Okay. So, yeah. That was a good pick.
It's not a good pick. It's an amazing pick.
Number 2.
I really feel like my number 2 pick is crazy, but that's how much it affected me after one play. I usually don't rank.
I'm saying that all the games on here, there's only one. There's
a couple.
There's only one that we played once.
Nope. Orange Burger.
We played that twice.
Oh, we have played that twice. I can think about it. All right, well, that would be Marrakesh.
It's the only game
Marrakesh
that we own of the 2.
I don't know what it is. I got to tell you, the heavy Felds just, I don't know.
I know what it is.
I love them.
I know what it is.
What is it?
Cube Tower.
Oh, yeah. I love the Cube Tower. Ah,
that's funny. I know what your number 1 is, just because reasons.
Right.
So you have like a connection, which I'll explain when we get to your number 1.
Oh, I can't wait. I like this. I like connections.
They're like the what is it, the Kevin Bacon, like 5, what is it called?
6 degrees, 7 degrees.
6 degrees or 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You have like 6 degrees of Stefan Feld.
But we played Marrakesh. I cannot wait to get that back to the table. It was crazy heavy, like you said, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And it's like, okay, I keep track of this. And then I started to build up an engine, and I got a really good engine going with those. Because you want to pick, you're not going to be able to max out everything. you're going to have to pick and choose which ones you're going to try to put all the pegs in and stuff. Because I think if you don't, I can't remember if you have to just get them all filled in to get the victory points, or if there's a detriment if you start and don't finish. I can't remember. It depends. It might depend on
a humongous bonus if you fill up a region.
Yeah, there was something, but I thought there was some kind of detriment too, or something. I can't recall. But anyway, those of you that have played it would probably be like, duh. I really liked that, though. I really liked trying to decide what I was going to do and just maximize that efficiency. Which ones do I want to work? Oh, these are working well together with what I've got, so I'm going to pick these, and those are the little areas that I'm going to focus on. It worked out really well, and I really enjoyed that. And, this is probably going to be one of my faves, and it may contend for numero uno if we continue on this track.
What?
I'm just saying.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's going to be shocking if most of you don't already know what my number 1 is.
We got to get this one played again.
Yeah, we do.
For show.
4.
All right.
So tell me about your number 2.
My number 2. So the original version of my number 2 was one of my favorite Stefan Feld games. I loved it. It's always been near-ish the top of my top 100 games of all time.
Fair.
And then, boom, it was redone into Amsterdam, and it's even better. I mean, it's like when they did Bruges and Hamburg, it's like Hamburg's a little bit better. And then they did Rialto in New York City. New York City is a little bit better.
Right.
And Macau did Amsterdam. Amsterdam is so much better, in my opinion. It's the biggest leap in terms of how much I enjoy the new version compared to the old version. Because Macau, I love Macau. I always love Macau. I love how the resources work. I don't think you mentioned the whole thing where you pick a die. Like, say I pick a red 5. I'm going to get 5 red cubes to spend as resources.
Right.
But I only get them for 5. I get them from 5 turns from now. Or
I love that mechanism,
or
too,
I
by the way.
get 1. I get a green 1, which is great. I get a green cube right now. Boom. Green cube. One green cube.
Do something
right,
with it. Yeah.
But I only get 1. So
You have to pace them out.
what my biggest thing that I didn't like about Macau, which even though I loved it, there was like a thing, like a little needle, like a little pokey thing, like pokes me. It pokes me. Is that you couldn't traveling was hard to do.
It is very hard.
It seemed like it was like you get to collect all these resources and you look and deliver. It seems like you have to like force yourself to travel in the game. Like you have to make an effort to do it. And it reminded me a lot in terms of Marco Polo is the same way. It's like the traveling is so difficult. You got to force yourself to travel. I think the Marco Polo 2 fixed some of that. Yeah. Amsterdam fixed some of that for Macau. So my little boat was going all over the place delivering stuff in the game. They really
it's zippy.
They fixed that portion of the game. Zippy. But love me some Amsterdam. It's really, really good. It like Rebecca said, Marrakesh is vying for her number 1. Amsterdam is really close to vying for my number 1 spot as well. It narrowed the gap. The number 1 was kind of a pretty good gap between my favorite Stefan Feld and my second favorite was a pretty good gap. It's definitely narrowed that gap quite a bit. Speaking of number 1s, let's see what they are. As soon as I push some buttons. But
Number 1.
Number 1. No surprise. Let's hear it.
You know what? Honestly,
Speak to the Senate. Speak to the Senate.
Yes, so I did the Pub Meeple thing. A scroll?
No, it had some
decree?
It had some fancy name. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Anyway. I did this in Pub Meeple just out of curiosity because we had so many games. Like Hunter goes, did you see how many games we have? And I'm like, that's 50. A lot.
50 games.
So I put it in and I actually was kind of surprised because as I'm doing the choices, there were a few that came across and I'm like, wow, I'm really liking, Marrakesh and Amerigo. They're really hitting all the spots. But Trajan is still my number 1. It's my bestest loveth of all. I love the Feld Trajan game. I like all the multitasking. Every region does something else. It's like little mini games going on, and you get to.
There's Marrakesh number 2.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Marrakesh is
the same little key.
It does. It has the same. Yeah, it does have those little cylinders. It's true. It's interesting. Yeah. I like the theme, of course. Now, I know his games are not heavily thematic, but the theme works for this one. You're an emperor trying to juggle all 47 kabillion things you need to do. It's fair. It's loose. It's a little loosey-goosey, but I can follow it. It's cool. You got the map at the top, and you're traveling across, and every time you take over an area, woo, you get benefits. I mean, fancy that. It's very Roman. And then you're talking to the Senate, and you get benefits if you get the approval of the Senate. Of course you're going to get benefits for that. And you go around and build buildings, and you get cool resources if you do that. What a shock. I mean, that kind of fit. The weird thing about the turns, too, is that it's like your cost is like time to do those things. And you've got this little, it's almost like a little Circus Maximus. It's kind of cute. You're doing little laps. And as you do these little laps, it's basically charging you your rounds and whatnot. So you have a certain amount of time that you're doing all of these things. I don't know. The whole thing is just really fun. I really like the theme. It's heavy as all get out. Like he was saying, the only one probably heavier is Marrakesh. Maybe we need to play it again and
Marrakesh is heavier.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I think you're probably right on that. It's pretty heavy duty.
So I will stand by this statement.
Okay.
If Trajan was rethemed as something other than Roman, it would not be your number one.
You think so?
100%.
Challenge.
100%. If it was just what other conquering place? The Mongols. It's Mongol themed. And they did Mongol-y things out of
Mongol-y? What does that even mean?
The Roman geekiness of the Senate and the Circus Maximus and the barbarian raids and the whatever, all that stuff.
I love this game.
That is what pushes it up your list. But
Whatever.
I do not berate that because
I like boats.
Speaking of like boats, my number one is
Amerigo.
Amerigo.
I called it.
Amerigo is my
called
number
that.
one.
It
is. I just like that game so much. I like the cube tower geekiness. I like the moving around on your boat. I like the efficiency
They
puzzle.
rethemed this, and you were galloping horses across the field.
We can retheme this as anything. I don't care. The American West. You can retheme it as exploring the North Pole. I don't care. I like the cube tower. I like that I'm on a boat traveling around. I like the Tetrisy bit.
What if you weren't on a boat?
Then that's different. That's don't say such things. It's funny. My 1, 2, 3, and 5 are all related to boats. Anyway,
I want to go back to this again. What was this? I didn't catch what this was.
I don't remember.
Cube tower-y
The
thing.
cube tower
You did
and the
something like-
Tetrisy thing. That's Tetrisy.
Oh, Tetrisy.
That's Tetris. We were slotting things into different places like Tetrisy. I don't. Anyway, exactly. I like Amerigo. It's fun. I like the dropping the cubes. There's some fun about that.
Something
Like,
crazy.
let's see what happens. Oh my gosh, I didn't get a white cube. I needed a white cube.
Yep.
That sort of thing. It's
There's usually at least one turn where we both shriek at something. We're like, why? It's
like
just...
I have to build. Like all one color comes out, and you're like, oh, I didn't want to take that action.
Yeah, exactly. So much fun.
I love this game. It's my favorite. Like I said, it was far and away my favorite. That and Le Havre used to kind of compete with each other ish,
Right.
but there was a pretty good gap between those two. But Amsterdam just took Macau to a new level, and
It did.
it's interesting to see where it's going to land in my top 100 because I like Amsterdam so much.
That's true.
Compared to Macau.
This made me think a lot about my top 100 coming up too. Is how things have shifted with these new Feld games and some of the more recent plays with our favorite Rosenbergs. It's really interesting.
But you know what the people are asking?
What are the people asking?
Who won the Designer's Showdown? So if you're keeping track at home, Feld annihilated Rosenberg. Is that what we're calling it?
Do you know what's really weird to me?
Annihilated.
Okay.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I know what you're going to say.
You probably
We'll
do.
get to that in a second.
Okay.
But we got to do some stats because I'm a stats guy.
You are.
Stats guy. I was split down the middle. I had 5 Felds, 5 Rosenbergs, and Feld was top heavy. They were higher up on my list, so Feld won my list, even though they're the same number of games.
Okay.
Feld destroyed Rebecca's list. 8 out of her top 10 are all Feld games. So if you do some weighted averageness for you geeks out there, weighted average. So if you give 10 points to first place, 1 point to 10th place, Feld came in with a rockin', insane 79 points.
Whoa!
Out of a possible 110. That's pretty good. If you're doing the math at home, then Uwe got 31 points. So Feld annihilated Rosenberg. And that's fair because we've said it for the longest time. Feld used to be our favorite designer for ages and ages, and
yeah.
I don't think it's maybe not that anymore for me at least. Maybe for Rebecca, I don't know. Probably for Rebecca still, but my favorite designer is probably not Feld. I don't even know who it would be. Lacerda or Stegmeyer, maybe.
Oh, that's true. Ooh.
I don't know. Anyway,
there's lots of goodies. There's a lot of good.
I don't know what my favorite designer is.
But okay, listen. That looking at the top 10, it's almost like it's a weird picture. My picture changes if you zoom out because you look at my top 20. 12 out of my 20 are Rosenberg games.
Because the next 10 are all Rosenberg?
They're all Rosenberg. My 11 through 20 are all Rosenbergs. It's really weird that what ended up being pushed up in the top are like the heavier, crunchier games, I guess. At least to my taste. And it just so happened that those were mostly Feld. But the top 20 of games that I really, really like to play, I actually lean more towards Rosenberg. Isn't that funny? I don't know. I thought that was really interesting. Because that looks completely like that picture looking at my top 20 versus my 10 are completely different pictures. It's weird.
You know what's uninteresting?
What?
My next 10 is divided 50-50 as well.
Are you serious? You were just like split down the middle evenly?
I care about all designers. I had this awesome line.
Did you?
Where Rebecca doesn't know it because this is going to come out in editing. Because I'm going to have at this front, this is for people in the chat, they're still around, and Rebecca, it's going to say, feed your people with a point salad.
I like it.
So I'm going to have a little subtitle for each of the combat, the designer showdown.
I like
Feed your people
with a point
salad.
I like that. That's catchy.
So it's pseudo live.
If we're going to do one of those lists where you're like the designers that you really want to do a mashup, now instead of fighting each other, they need to become friends. And they need to design a game together by feeding their people with point salads. Can you imagine a Feld-Rosenberg mashup game? Yeah! Let's bring it. There better be a cube tower. That's all I'm going to say. Roll film. Drop the mic.
Oh my gosh.
Done.
All right, folks. That's it for this time for our top 10 Feld versus Uwe. It's kind of like Feld featuring Uwe, I guess, in our case. What's your top Feld and Uwe games? And which designer do you prefer? Let us know down in the comments. And next time, 1 week from that, we're going to have our usual variety show shenanigans. And then the week following that
is the Halloween
special. I don't even know. Is it the 8th annual, 7th, 8th,
my
9th?
gosh,
I don't
so
know.
many. This is going to be tough.
And the rule continues.
Oh, why?
We cannot pick a game that has ever been on any of those shows.
You're eliminating like 100 games.
More than 100 games.
Don't make me do the math. Never tell me the odds.
All right, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Click subscribe to join our wonderful viewer community.
Want to be notified when we upload a new video or go live? Click on the little bell below.